Now, let's take a look at the technical outlook for 2025, perhaps with a view as well in the rearview mirror. Peter Mcguire joining us from XM. Pete, good to catch up with you again on the cusp of Christmas, of course, Christmas Eve. And you may have just heard we were talking about Bitcoin and what's ahead. Why don't we start there then, and what you're seeing technically at the moment?
Absolutely. Good morning, Andrew, and Merry Christmas to you and everyone at ausbiz. Thanks for a great year. And Bill, and I did watch the whole interview, so I was very fortunate, and I agree with many points. I'd like to build on it with a couple of things, which are the true data points that one needs to consider as far as its acceptance on Main Street. 57% of individuals own Bitcoin. 17% of Bitcoin is lost. 3.4% is owned by miners. 5.2% is Satoshi's wallet. 6.6% not yet mined. 2.7% is governance, 3.9% ETFs, and 3.6% of companies. So in principle, Andrew, the people own Bitcoin. And this is going to be fascinating how that works through into 25. And when you see the chart there, we saw from November 5, approximately, Bitcoin put on the best part of 60 to 70% with that huge rally to 108 or 109,000. And it was the best part of $1,000 a day, 7 days a week for 6 weeks. It's given up a lot of that hot air. It's been sold off, but I still think it's probably going to sit at these sort of levels. And it'll have another leg up shortly. So many analysts are saying, as your previous guest said, 250,000's achievable. Yeah, it's a big number. So strap yourself in and let's see where it rides. But it certainly will be interesting in 25.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see just over the last couple of months, even those that are very anti-crypto are saying, well, yeah, perhaps you need to have a little exposure there, given the potential that is showing. All right, Pete, let's then be a little more prosaic in what we're seeing as far as equities are concerned, with a focus on the States. How are you seeing it at the moment?
Well, you can't dispute, Andrew. I mean, you've got a 43,000 handle for Dow. It's been extraordinary. 6,000 or just under 59.74 for S&P, and just under 20,000 or 19,750 for NASDAQ. So when you're looking at the big numbers, sure, there's been a little bit of a sell-off, but the chart tells the story. It's been an incredible journey over the last year or two. If you look at S&P, for instance, and the chart, I mean, that is just showtime. What you've seen as far as growth has been extraordinary, and hard to get in the way of a bull market. It's given off a little bit of those gains, but it's still, I think the overall momentum is heading north. And if President Trump brings a lot of manufacturing back to America, that's only going to assist these companies hyperdrive as far as performance over the next couple of years, Andrew.
All right. What else are you watching then at the moment, and I guess with a view to 2025, Pete?
King dollar, 108, Andrew. I mean, we're being crushed 62 and a bit for Aussie. That just puts some framework around it for the viewers. You've got a euro approaching that, parity. It's 104.06. You've got a US dollar index punching through 108 now. So that's been just one-way traffic, and the way the euro's going, do you see parity by, the end of January or sometime in February? You've got a yen approaching 160. It's at 157. His intervention around the corner. There's no chance of any rate hike from BOJ until at least probably March, and then the pound sitting at 1.25. So I think the overall momentum has been, it's an extraordinary year for US dollar index. And I think that will continue, Andrew, well and truly into 2025. President Trump said there's only one currency, that is King dollar. And we've just got to see how that all rolls forward.
Well, how's that translating as far as the Aussie's concerned, Pete?
I think it's 62, Andrew. I wouldn't like to be travelling, going to the States. Might be, it's just the buying power of it's being crushed, and I feel as though we're possibly on the road to sub 60, and that may happen sometime over the next month or two. So, and what happens if we were to cut rates? We'd be probably a high 50 handle. So there's this thought line there. It's just a wait and see, but there's only been one way, and that's been selling the Aussie and buying US, and it's just been an extraordinary trade. Really, over the best part of 6 to 8 weeks, it's been just fantastic.
Yeah, well, we're not alone, of course. Many of those commodity countries having been crushed as a result of that strength of the US dollar. And Pete, a look at gold has done very well this year, of course. The question, can that continue?
Yes, I do believe so, Andrew. I think the precious metals are going to have a better year in 25 than they did in 24. They've had extraordinary growth over the last 12 months to 14 months, and since the start of the year, from that 2,000 handle up to 2,800. Sold a little bit off. I mean, it's running at the moment. It's still not bad at 26.30, but you've had an extremely strong dollar. So, yeah, couple those together, I feel as though 25 is going to be just a mind-blowingly good number and a year for the likes of silver and gold. I think silver's possibly got a better leg up than gold, but they're both looking 3,000 achievable for gold, $40 for silver. That's what the analysts are saying, and it's pretty hard to disagree with them in the short term, Andrew.